The Australian Rugby Union's performance early this morning in the French World Cup Rugby Union, I think is a reflection on how Australian society is collapsing and how they're mistreating white Australian men. It's a reflection of our confidence as a nation. It is a reflection on so many things that have been happening in Australia. I want to get into a little bit more detail, but this is a two-part series. I'm going to upload for members only. If you join as a member of this channel, I'm going to upload an in-depth analysis of the rugby game between Australia and Fiji, what I think went wrong. Keep in mind, I played 8 seasons of rugby union. It's not my first rodeo. And in the off season, when my knees had given out and I couldn't take the hits anymore, keep in mind I've had 2 hip replacements, no doubt 8 seasons of rugby union and training with people on the off season contributed to that. So I know a little bit about rugby union, let's just put it that way. I'm going to make a full analysis video and make it purely for members only that I'll upload. So you have to join the channel to actually get access to that. But I think the collapse in in confidence in Australia as a nation is a reflection on why we are losing as well, not only in rugby union but in life. When you have a look here, here's another example of the advertisements on how poorly they treat real white Australian men. There's an African man. Oh, he's loving life in Australia, isn't he? He's got 2 Aussie girls with him. Where's the Australian man? Where's the white Australian man? He doesn't exist anymore. And he's being shat on by every aspect of our society. No wonder we can't win in the confidence and testosterone-filled sport of rugby union. It's because society now, due to immigration, due to people coming to our country and hating on us continuously, has taken away every possible freedoms we have. Look, the adventurer isn't an Australian anymore. I don't know what that is. There's the adventurer. The white Australian man is being treated like a slave within his own country, and instead of having a safe place to go, keep in mind Australia used to be this small nation, which we still are, a tiny nation that was full of white Australian men that looked out for each other. The Aussie battler was a real thing. The Aussie battler means the underdog. We would go and play in a Rugby World Cup in England, go to Europe, in France, and we were fully aware that we were the underdogs. We were the tiny little nation. And we knew that everybody was against us. We knew that we were outnumbered. We knew that we were smaller. We knew that we didn't have the numbers, we were weaker. And what we would do is we developed this underdog mentality. We called it the Aussie battler mentality. And that Aussie battler mentality was us versus the world. And you see, part of the reason why we succeeded in the past, especially when it comes to the rugby union, the Wallabies, was that we had a safe place to go. We had a bunch of other white Australian men that ran this country. It was safe for us in high school. It was safe for us in universities. We didn't have all of these people in universities hating on us and trying to take away our rights, calling us racist just because of the color of our skin. We didn't have diversity targets designed to give minorities and females, because it's amazing how white women have gone from being the oppressors and being part of the white narrative to being the victims as well. It's just amazing how they did that. These guys here, they grew up in a different world, a total different world. They have no idea how the world is today. It's a total different world. It's a world that hates on white men. It really is. And I would say that the Wallabies are a direct reflection on the loss of confidence as a nation that we have been suffering from for the last, say, 20 years. The last time we won a Rugby World Cup was 1999. Now, that was a different world. And, you know, back then, guys like this didn't exist. They just didn't exist. You know, I wouldn't necessarily blame him. This is a guy that society hates, and he wouldn't be this overweight and wouldn't be looking like this if he was treated with some sort of respect in society. If he was treated like an equal, then he wouldn't need to do this. So what he does is he goes home depressed, eats a lot of junk food, probably stressed, probably has mental issues as well, and that's not his fault. That is a direct reflection on society mistreating him. And it's across the board in Australia. We have lost confidence as a nation. As a nation, we are weakened. And we are weakened because we are abusing white Australian men. You can't take away our rights as white Australian men, take away all of our... You know, we used to have safe spaces. Whenever a white Australian man would be stressed or whatever, he had somewhere to go. There's no safe place in this country because all of the immigrants have done everything in their power to take it from us. All of them. They come here and their rights are more important than ours. They do everything they can to take from us. They're not coming here to help us. They're coming here to take. Oh look, vote yes. Ha! Vote yes. Yes, vote yes, people. Why not? Who made up this? I have no idea. That's a topic for another day. But the Wallabies losing to Fiji, it was the first time in about 60 years that Fiji, this tiny little nation with less people, their population's smaller than how many fingers and toes I have. There's nobody there. There's a bunch of islands. And a large percentage of the population of Fiji is Indian. And those Indians would rather watch cricket than play rugby. So the pool of rugby players that these guys have to choose from is almost insignificant. But you used to have a look at the Australian man. The Australian man used to understand that we were up against it, and we had safe places to go, and we could build our confidence amongst each other, know that we were up against it, and the Aussie battler would get together and try to overcome all of the odds. But this is no longer the case. There's nowhere safe to go for us, and we are weakened as a nation. I could see in the first 20 minutes that the Fijian rugby team was tired. They were stressed. They not tired and stressed. It was more they were... Sorry, that's the wrong way to put it. The Fijian team were... they had no confidence. The Fijian team were fully aware that Australia was the favourite, and they were fully aware that we were the confident nation. We were the team that was supposed to win. And I could see in the first 20 minutes that the Fijians, they didn't believe that they could win. And rugby is a confidence game. It really is a game of attrition where two teams grind against each other and you look for those little 1%ers to win the game. And you could tell that the Fijians were just waiting for us to just blow past them. You could just see it. Everything about that team was, oh, we're playing a game, we're not expected to win, let's give it our best. And they didn't believe that they could actually win the game. And there were a few moments there where they made minor mistakes where you could tell that the Fijians were about to crack as a team. But you look at the confidence and the testosterone levels and the cortisol levels of the Australian team. It was just too high, and the testosterone was too low, and there was no self-belief. And I think that a lot of that self-belief comes from the fact that we're weakened as a nation. Back in 1999, Australians still had some gun laws. We still had some property rights. We still had the ability, if you work hard, within 5 years you could own a unit or a house. Those days are long gone due to immigration and the government controlling the money supply. We're now at a point, see the moustache on this guy wearing the Yes? He's wearing a Yes t-shirt with a moustache. It reminds me of the number 9 from the Wallabies last night. A guy with a moustache that isn't a real man. And you notice that this guy too, wearing the Yes t-shirt, he's got a moustache to cover up his face because he's a little bit ashamed of himself. He's got chubby legs, like he doesn't walk very much. Look at him waddling down the street. You can't see his socks. He's got little sockettes on. That's not what a real man does. And he's wearing all in black because he doesn't want to stand out in society. He's basically a communist. You know, the communists used to all just wear grey, wear the exact same clothes because they didn't want to stand out. That's effectively what this guy's doing. He's effectively been brainwashed by the system into believing that the yes vote is important. Yeah, wow. Look at that thing there. I don't know what that thing is. It's not a real Aussie man, that's for sure. We need to eradicate these pathetic excuses of men. And I think it's a reflection of Australian society as a whole. How far we've fallen. And how much further we need to fall before this entire country collapses. Keep in mind, this channel, I have pointed out 2022 economic collapse. I started pointing that out by 2018. It's quite an accurate prediction. I've got a whole bunch of accurate predictions on this channel so far. The thing is, right now, if we changed our ways, we could salvage this country and give the people who live here a good standard of living moving forward. But we are at the precipice of a collapse that is going to be so disastrous for everybody that lives in Australia that they cannot conceive it. You wouldn't be able to believe what is going to happen to this country in the next 12 years, moving up to next 11 years, whatever. 2034, as I predicted, will be the end of Australia as we know it. Everything's getting more difficult here. Standard of living is declining and will continue to decline. It will not come back. It will not bounce back at all. It'll become even more difficult to own property, earn a proper wage, and there will come a point where the immigrants that are here for the reserve currency will eventually change the way they see things. They will start to realize that the standard of living, all that they need, will be back home, because the infrastructure is being built up in all of these countries around Asia. They'll realize that there's nothing here for them anymore. And the ones that are doing the work here will go, and the useless ones will stay. And Australia will be left with some of the most useless human capital we ever have on this continent. And that will facilitate really hard times for the Australians that live here. Oh my God. Pink-haired, middle-aged woman, probably votes yes. What a piece of shit. What a fucking piece of shit. One of those pink-haired scumbags got ejected from a plane recently. It was all over the news. I saw that. These women, with all their privilege, it's disgusting. That's why I just hate white Australian women. They're just such scumbags. Privileged scumbags. They don't take responsibility for their own action. They're just milking Western society for everything it has. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. How's it going?
I've seen your videos, I think.
You seen me? Really?
Yeah, I think so. Like your face is familiar.
What was I talking about?
I'm not sure. It was just like a broad vlog or something.
Ah, okay. Oh well, guys, I'm gonna end this vlog, and nice to meet you anyway. See you later. I'm gonna end this vlog. I've had my little rant, had a little bitch and moan about things, and I'm gonna make a video giving my analysis on why we lost to Fiji and how easy it would have been for us to win that game. Now, keep in mind, I did play 8 seasons of rugby. That's a long time. It's not like I'm a couch potato giving my analysis on it. I've had 2 hip replacements. No doubt the hip replacements I've had were somewhat of a reflection of me putting in some hard yards on the rugby field. And during the off season, up until around 28, I would still train. I'd still go play and train with some guys that ended up playing for the Wallabies. I played with guys that played for the Wallabies back in the day. And yeah, so I'd like to put my take on things. And probably be, I don't know, we'll see how I go. But anyway, if you want to see that video, become a member. I share a lot of my private thoughts there as well. I share things about what I get up to as well. I share my, where I go, what I do, my other thoughts. My thoughts publicly are a little bit more political, but privately as a member on the channel, I also share a few things that I get up to as well when I travel or what I do that I would never share publicly, even though being a member, it's still public. But anyway, I'll see you guys next video.